Welcome to Stonehands. Today we will explore the topic of greenwashing affecting the business, the regenerative business that is trying to do good to the world. But then there are some kind of policies issued by national governments, etc., that are inhibiting the real growth of businesses that want to make a change in this world. So this video has got two parts. The second part is the video that I recorded previously, but it just broke down. There I will make you important examples about electric cars and different businesses that have applied those models in practice. But let's go on then. What is going on with the greenwashing? I mean, it's a really complex theme. The climate change, the sustainability, etc. But quite often we are relying on technology that is not adequate enough that we could utilize it. For example, we are building huge wind and solar farms that are making more damage to the environment than causing any good. For example, there is no way that we're able to store enough of that energy on this very moment because our technology is not advanced enough. Or how the wind turbines are affecting the bird life, killing thousands or hundreds of thousands of birds each day globally. And the rare minerals used for the solar energy, they are sometimes mined from in countries where there is child labor used. And all those things, they conflict with regenerative principles, which are that by using resources, human resources, the earth itself, or anything else, we must make the greatest input that we can to help the earth regenerate after being utilized for some cause, or the community of people, that we do not destroy lives of people. For example, mining those minerals, we help them to grow, to have sustainable communities. These problems arise when we are blindly following the policies. For example, the regulations in UK that in 10 years all the new vehicles must be electric cars. But do we have the right technology in 10 years time? Or maybe there will be an improvement or development of other technologies that are based on hydrogen power or some other form of power that we do not know yet. And it imposes a great problem when we are going blindly in one direction and we do not consider how it is impacting the earth on this very moment. Like the airplane companies say that when you purchase this additional fee, we shall plant a tree for you to zero your carbon emissions. But it's not as black and white. It has so many nuances. All the materials that the building of airplane has used. Also, we are using fossil fuels, but fossil fuels are not bad as long as they are effectively used. For example, all the tankers transporting the petroleum products all around the world globally are consuming more petrol than all the cars in the world. And it was like many times more. So it's crazy how we are focusing on the small consumers. People should not fly that much. You should switch your cars. But really, those cars are not the issue. We should use our old cars and make them better. That's one of the facets that we are facing on this very moment. And the another thing is the distribution of resources when the capitalistic system is funding profit. For example, researchers and inventors, they are funded in the aims and for the sake of profit. But when there are inventions that utilize free energy, that do not utilize the cable electricity, or they harness the power that we could use for transportation in a different way than we on this very moment know, then it becomes a little bit sloppy, because those scientists, they do not get funded, or inventors. Like, I have seen countless of videos of cars running on H2O, on water. They have water motors in them. And I have this friend who is in the business of solar energy, and he has been also to conventions where he has seen cars that run on water, but they are not distributed, because the profits, the car industry that is now promoting the electrical industry, they do not get any more real profits when they lose their main source of income. Most probably, I haven't done the research, but I assume that many petrol companies have invested large sums of money into the so-called renewable energies, into the wind, into the tides, into the solar, etc. But there may be other solutions to the crisis of energy and to our consumption, because when we are consuming something, it is important to understand where it's coming and how we can utilize it back into the nature. For example, the the most obvious thing that we do at our house, we eat food, and all the peels and all the leftovers, we compost it. We have compost bin outside that I built with my own hands, and we compost it and we make soil out of it and put it back to our garden. That's just like a really primal and and easy way to have this kind of circular economy. But you can scale it up into really complex causes. I even assume that there is a way that we could use the power plants that are using the uranium and other kind of minerals, that we are able to harness the nuclear waste in a positive way, to build or harness it in a different way that would be beneficial for the end consumer. There is always a way of recycling stuff. And then it's all about materials. For example, the walls in our house are made out of lime plaster, and it's a conscious choice, that because I wanted to make a greenhouse, we have stone walls and lime plaster. We wanted to have a house that is breathing, that we do not use any toxic chemicals or plastic paints, that we have a breathing house, and that is kind of sustainable. But some people say that lime plaster and lime building with stone is really sustainable, but some have arguments that we must take the stones and powder them into the lime, into the lime powder, and that's also environmentally not viable. So it can be really nuanced, the discussion, what is sustainable and what is not. I got really inspired by hempcrete houses, when you have hemp sheep mixed with the lime plaster actually, and then you make blocks, or you pour it like concrete into the house, or onto your floor. It uses less CO2 than cement, and actually makes a sustainable and a house that is breathing. But that's just one thing that you can get really inspired, but they all have their own downsides. So it's more about acknowledging how my business, or my material is affecting the environment, and how can I give back. And another thing, that I do not blindly follow those regulations, because regulations are quite often blinded by policymakers who are disconnected from the reality. Like, for example, I'm environmentalist, but I have found out when in Finland they started banning the burning of peat from the bogs. I saw that, wow, there's something really suspicious about it. Okay, their peat is not renewable, but the solution that was offered was neither renewable. That we should transition more to the hydrogen energy, to nuclear energy, but those solutions are not that sustainable by taking account all the minerals, all the materials to build those plantations or plants, power plants. So it's so nuanced, and if we have those kind of blindfolded, linear way of having this environmental policy, and we still believe that the warming of climate or the climate change is made by humans, then we are blinded. Climate change is happening, but humans, we are too egoistical. We think we are so great that we are able to change the climate of one great planet. No, that is total madness. We are mere ants. 1% of the Earth's surface, the mainland surface, is covered by human infrastructure, including cities, habitation, etc. Most of all the other parts of the surface is in other uses, for farmland, for the wild nature, some of it is unreachable, etc. And we think that we are affecting the climate so strongly, so badly. No, but it's changing, the climate is changing, but human nature and conscious must also change, because I'm saying that we should not pollute the planet, we should aim to create better technologies, that we could use more so-called a peasant technologies, like a peasant, like a farmer's technologies. We must get our sense, our common sense back to our minds. Otherwise, we will destroy the planet by all this craziness. So let's go to the part 2 of the video. So hope you liked and subscribe when you are here.
Sewage and piping systems, and a lot of building that goes around the water and sewage systems is based on plastic pipes. But if we look back in the historical terms, like the Roman aqueducts and Chinese porcelain pipes and tubes, something has changed, you see. And the oldest sewage system has been found on Crete during the times of Minoan civilization. They had even water flush toilets over there. But nowadays we are using plastic pipes mostly. The system that we are selling is an aluminium composite piping system. But this is not the topic today. The topic is the problem that we are facing as society and humankind in general. How we are able to regenerate the systems or places from where we extract our resources and minerals. The ethos of regenerative business is not finding your why, but how. How we are able to sustain or do least harm to environment where we are living on this very moment. Like the worst example is fast fashion. Like they have 3 or 4 new sets of clothes that they are selling and exploiting children in their work, etc. And it's making an awful lot of problems. ja issi teeb omal video ära, enne issi ei tule mitte kuskile. Tahad alla tulla? ja issi teeb omal bla 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 ära, siis tuleb. Welcome to Stonehands. Here we are in our second home, and I wanted to share some thoughts about regenerative business and why it is still important for us as we are getting into the halfway of 2020s. 6 years ago, actually, in the Gen 2019 conference in Italy, there was said that the next decade, the 2020s, will be all about resurrection and restoration of Earth's ecosystems, because we are running out of the soils. We are we are taking too much from the earth, from as the minerals, as the resources, and not giving back enough. One of my favorite companies, I'm wearing their shirt on this very moment, if you can see, Patagonia, they have said that they are trying to be sustainable and ecological on their production, but they have found out one thing, that they are not able to never have a zero emission, or they cannot never give back to the earth as much as they are taking, because they are producers. They are producing something. They are making consumer goods. And if you are making consumer goods, you can never give enough back to the world. So all this bullshit about having zero CO2 emissions, etc., that's plain white lies. Same with the wind turbines, as they are creating electromagnetic fields that is penetrating the nervous system of animals and humans, also slashing birds into halves. These are just some problems. Or creation of solar panels, it's extraction of precious metals from places where they sometimes use child labor, not always. So these are complex issues. So we cannot say this is sustainable energy, these are sustainable resources, but we should aim of providing the brightest minds, and some minds who have been banned from the scientific circus, to have a free space and time and resources that they could experiment on technologies that will help us to become free and independent from extracting too many resources from the earth. So regenerative business is not about the why I am doing this, why I want to be rich, or why I want to give jobs to other people, or why I'm solving this problem that I see, but how can I give to people or to myself in a way that is more sustainable to this world. And you cannot tell yourself anymore those white lies that we are aiming for zero emissions, or planting trees will help to overgrow the problem that we are consuming something. No, because when we are planting trees for our flights, it's still we are using precious minerals, precious metals from somewhere. But in a long term, it doesn't matter at all. In long term, humanity will perish in few thousand years or few 100,000 years, and then the earth will restore its ecosystems anyway. So no problem. But if we want to live in a fair world where everyone is treated equally, where people have equal opportunities and a good living, then we must develop our technologies and our resources, that we would not waste so much from the earth and would use less plastic, as we have this plastic disease in our bodies. Over one credit card of plastic consumed each year, or even more, the microplastics, and there's like the size of France, a plastic island on the Pacific Ocean. So it's all a problem, and we must do something. Some people are making algae plastics. Like I saw this company who was making those plastic bottles from algae or something like that, and you could chew it like that's your water dosing. Another quite cool thing that I saw is the company called Liquid Death. Like, and their ethos or their mission is dead to the plastic bottle, as we are producing too much plastic. That's one of the first issues that we should solve or resolve, and then we should start tackling next and next and next, because more humans, the more we consume, and it's like one compound unified ecosystem. Like maybe you have heard about Gaia theory, which says that Earth is a living organism, and if we look at the cancer's development in human body, in the human cells, we see quite similar thing when we look from space, the Earth, all the light pollution, etc., those megalopolises, that's a sign of cancer. But no problem, we are able to transform our technology, because every phase of the evolution of the planet has seen such conflicts that one species starts to dominate over all else that is living on the planet, and then they will end up in a conflict within themselves and resolve it. Same has happened with bacteria when they started producing oxygen, etc. It has always happened, and I'm so sure we will find solutions. But it's all about cooperation, and maybe you have heard about blue economy, that we should not aim for the endless growth in capitalism. No, free market, let it be. But we aim for a disciplined growth within the boundaries of our ecosystem, that we do not grow too large. Then we will explode, like Nokia, great cell phone maker, how they destroyed their business. They grew really large, but then happened that Samsung and other cheaper phones came into the market that were more powerful, and their monopoly was destroyed. The same happens with each company in a long term. When you look, for example, for the Nasdaq or Dow Jones, and when you look S&P 500, and you look in last 100 years how companies have changed from the top charts, it's a normal progression where the companies will fall eventually. It will always happen. But should we then aim for the enormous growth of a company in expense of environment, or should we see how we can grow the company in cooperation with the environment? Like the Patagonia, as I said, is great prime example of it, as they are trying to evolve together with the resources that they are using and make good quality consumer goods that will not end up on trash piles. And also we need clients that they would understand. So it always is about price for the middle and lower classes of people. It's always about the money. They look at prices, like people who are on the wealthier curve. They are able to see, like, oh, I don't care how much, what's the expense of this thing, I am willing to buy it. And then there's this funny thing when we are talking about electrification of cars. That's just bullshit again. It's more better if you try with an old car, like 20 years old, 25 years, 10 years, and you purchase used cars and you fix them, and you can drive a lot of miles. Then there is no need that someone has to produce you a new car. Or like this problem, like they're in Germany, like the Audi and Porsche have huge quantities of cars produced that no one is going to never purchase. That's just overproduction, because they forgot where they come from, and they did not make the right risk analyses on the things that are going on. But you don't have to produce so many new things. It's more about fixing and making technologies that are fixable and updatable. Not like the electric cars that lose like 80% of their performance in 10 years. The battery just runs out, and then the changing of battery is so expensive that it's better to purchase a new car. That's just the consumer stupidity once again. So it's better to look on the old technology that we are using. Like, should we build a new house, or should we